Alright, so recently Antics made a video going over the top 10 unexplained mysteries in Roblox Piggy. And well, I mentioned a lot of really great mysteries in that video, but there's actually a lot that he missed out, so I thought I'd make my own video going over my own top 10 unexplained mysteries in Piggy. Now, I do want to say right off the bat that I'm not going to be covering any mysteries that are currently being explored in the Piggy timeline, like for example, Mr. Stitchy. Obviously, we're learning more about that as new chapters come out. I'm just going to be talking about the mysteries that MINITOON has seemingly forgotten about or that hasn't been mentioned in the story for quite a while. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's hop into number 1. Okay, so for number 1, I'm throwing this on here because if I don't, everyone in the comments is going to be talking about it. Yes, it is indeed Ghost Bunny. Everybody knows about this. If you recently started playing, let me explain. Basically, everyone knows that Bunny got infected, all right? Bunny is gone. But if you go on the Chapter 11 map on the outpost and you look in one of the watchtowers, you can actually see Bunny up on one of the posts just staring at you. And it's seemingly a ghost bunny. It's a shadow bunny, seemingly like some sort of soul or spirit of bunny just sitting there watching you. We never found out anything about this. We don't even technically know if it is 100% Bunny confirmed, even though it does look like her. Maybe it's her mom, her brother, her parents. We don't know. Literally nothing in the story has ever brought this up, so hopefully we find out some answers one day. All right, so we Ghost Bunny out of the way. Let's go ahead and move on to mystery number 2. And that is actually a note inside of Chapter 10, The Mall. No, I'm not talking about this note here that says, don't trust the SI. Everyone knows about that note. It's still a big mystery. We don't really know what it was talking about, but there's actually another note on this map that's a mystery. There's this note right underneath one of the seats right at the start of the map where you spawn, and it says, she broke out, she's somewhere, we need to find her and gather supporters. Now, even though this isn't directly signed by TSP, I'm still pretty sure that this was written by someone inside of TSP just because of the fact that TSP talks about all the time in notes gathering supporters, especially at the start of the infection. We also know that TSP is no stranger to kidnapping people, and seemingly this note is talking about someone being kidnapped. Also, there's literally a note from TSP like 10 feet away from this one, so it's pretty likely from TSP. Anyway, the question here is, who in the world broke out and where did she go, and why in the world was she so important that someone in TSP decided to make a note out of it and actually put it on the ground? She broke out, she's somewhere. Who broke out? Who's somewhere? Who? This has never been brought up again inside of Piggy, so maybe one day. All right, so next up is corrupted memory. And honestly, this chapter has so many unexplained things in it. It's wild. So if you don't know what the corrupted memory chapter was, let me quickly explain. Basically, there was a chapter in between, I believe, chapter 10 and 11, or 11 and 12, one of those. And what it was a secret little bonus chapter involving George. The whole chapter was basically supposed to be a nightmare that George has all the time. And there's a lot of secrets in here. For example, if we walked outside, there was these giant red eyes watching George from the sky. Like, who in the world is this? What are the red eyes? As well, at the end of the chapter, George actually turns infected, and then he wakes up. He keeps having this nightmare about him being infected. Is he infected? We never found that out either. At the end of the chapter as well, Penny just leaves. She walks away. She runs away. She leaves George behind. Where in the world did Penny go? Like, what's going on with that? And then finally, the Memory character, MINITOON confirmed that Memory is actually supposed to be a dead relative of George. So who in the world is Memory? We know it's not the mom or dad, so who in the world's Memory? We have no idea. Lots of mysteries remain with this chapter. Now, this next one is actually, again, about George. There used to actually be missing person posters all around the different chapters in Piggy, and this was one of them. And it basically is a missing posters report for George. Everyone's looking for George. That's why we got called to his house as a police officer to begin with. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff about this poster, but one of them was actually the eyes. If you look at the eye section, it says eyes red, meaning that George is infected. Is he infected? If someone saw him with his eyes being red, then surely he's infected, right? Maybe this entire poster is just non-canon anymore. MINITOON just wants us to forget about the whole thing, but I haven't forgot about it. I want answers. Speaking of infected though, in one of the endings of chapter 12, Mr. P directly says that he detected sources of the infection inside of us, the player. Now, of course, this makes sense because we know that if you get attacked by a piggy, you are then infected by the virus. And we know in chapter 1, we literally get knocked out and attacked by the piggy, and that's how we end up inside the house. So if we got attacked by the piggy and there's an infection, or the pig infection is inside of us, then why in the world aren't we turning into an infected? Are we a immune? Again, this has never been brought up again in any of the Piggy chapters, so I'm kind of confused. I would like to know some answers to this. Talking more about the player, at the end of the school chapter, when we initially run into Mr. P, we actually pass out. The player actually just completely passes out, and then the next thing we know, Bunny actually takes us to the hospital, and the doctors did something on us there. Why in the world did we pass out? We've never passed out again in the rest of the story. From what I know, you're a police officer, so you probably don't have a lot of health issues. Why? Well, that doesn't make sense. It wasn't even a super stressful situation. You just randomly pass out, and then you wake up in the hospital, and then everything's all good and berries. I don't know. Now, this next one is one that I threw in here because I personally would love to know the story behind this, but in the Chapter 3 Refinery of Book 2, at the end, when Zizzy gets infected, we actually see the Piggy that actually infects Zizzy. It's actually Polly. This right here is Polly, you know, the same Polly that is the police officer. The same one that actually worked with Doggy and apparently was pretty good friends with Doggy. Now, my question is, if Book 2 takes place a few months or a year after Book 1, when the infection started, how in the world is Polly all the way at the TSP base in the middle of the woods? If he was investigating TSP, why in the world would Doggy not know about it? Why in the world would Doggy just not go after Polly? If Doggy knew that Polly was going after TSP and investigating them, why in the world was Doggy not there with him? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm just confused as to how Polly got infected and then all the way to the TSP base. It's a small detail, but I would love to know. All right, so this next one is actually one of the most fascinating mysteries in all of Piggy, and it involves Penny Piggy in Chapter 1. So we know that this right here is Penny Piggy. We know from the Corrupted Memory chapter that Penny Piggy actually ran away as soon as the infection started. She is nowhere to be seen. But at the same time, MINITOON also said that the Piggy in Chapter 1 is Penny Piggy. But if Penny Piggy ran away before the infection even started, then who in the world is this? And if this is Penny Piggy, why in the world do they look completely different? They don't look like the same characters at all. Like, this is clearly an adult, and this is clearly not an adult. I have no idea. Who is the Piggy in Book 1, Chapter 1? Is it still Penny Piggy? Is it not Penny Piggy? Did she come back? Is she? I don't know, dude. No, this next one actually involves some secret notes, but not from the main Piggy game. Actually from the Piggy Intercity game. MINITOON updated the game and added in a whole bunch of secret notes all around the map. And well, if you put all those secret notes together, you get this right here. Now, unfortunately, nobody has yet to solve this, and it's been about a month and a half. MINITOON hasn't mentioned it. Not very many people mention it anymore. The only thing MINITOON said was that it's some sort of secret as to what is coming up in the future of Piggy, but we can't figure it out. I haven't been able to figure it out. As far as I know, what this note says is a complete mystery, and nobody has yet to figure it out. If you know what it says, let me know down below, but I've done some digging, I've done some research on it, and nobody's figured it out yet, and MINITOON has never mentioned it again. Now, for number 10 and the final one, I had to throw this on here because it does actually boggle my mind a little bit. At the end of Chapter 12, Mr. P says he's going to stay behind, redeem himself, you know, fight off the Piggies in order to make himself feel better, because he's done some pretty bad things. But we know from the true ending, which is the canon ending, that Mr. P actually got away from Chapter 12. He got away from the plane. He escaped. He is alive. So where in the world did he go, and what in the world is he doing? Now, this is interesting because everyone Mr. P knows is gone. Everyone he worked with is infected and gone, so he literally has nobody. So what in the world is he doing right now? Is he working on another cure? Is he just scouring the world looking for his infected Miss P? We never really found out, and I thought maybe we'd find out by Chapter 6, but considering we're about to be going across the ocean, I don't think we are going to run into Mr. P again unless he also decided to go across the ocean, which is unlikely. So maybe we'll find out about him. I don't know, MINITOON, maybe throw him in a future chapter or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But anyway, that is my list of the top 10 unexplained Piggy mysteries. If you have any more that I didn't mention in this video or that Antics didn't mention in his video, let me know down below, because there's actually quite a bit. And out of all these mysteries, which one do you want to find the answers out to? There's actually quite a bit of good ones in here. Of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Keep using the star code RealKreek when you're buying Roblox Premium or buying some Robux on the website. It helps me out and helps support the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!